Good morning, afternoon, or evening, y'all. My name is Shannon, and today we are going to be going over all of the books that I read in September. Now, granted, it's not a whole lot because I was getting out of a reading slump and a lot of crazy things have happened in this past month, but I think I read 7 books, I think. We're just gonna get started. So the first book I read was A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. I do not have my copy on me because I already lent it to my sister-in-law, because the whole reason I was rereading it was so that she could have my full annotations. So I bought like a brand new paperback copy and fully annotated it for her. And obviously that's like a 5 stars for me. I absolutely adore that book, and I think that was what really helped bring me out of my reading slump, because that series is actually like one of the first things I read when I got back into reading a couple years ago. And so that was amazing. And then I read, I have to look on my Kindle so I get the names right. I read the entire Ocean Bay series by Chloe Walsh. So it's Endgame, Waiting Game, and Truth Game. I have mixed feelings about this series. So Endgame, I think that was probably my favorite book out of the series. It was about Mercedes and Rourke, and they are, it's kind of taboo, but they are new step siblings. They absolutely loathe each other because Rourke just thinks both she and her mother are gold diggers, and Mercy obviously just realizes that he's a complete asshole to her. And it's super, like, kind of complicated, but I did enjoy it overall. I think I rated it like 3-5 stars. Waiting Game and Truth Game, I do have some less great things to say about. So those two books are about the same couple, and they're both pretty short. Like, the first one is only like 170 pages, and then the second one is like 250, I think. And I feel like literally the only reason she split it into 2 books is so she could do like a cliffhanger on the first one. And it's not even like a really intense cliffhanger. Like, the entire first book and second book, they're talking about this secret that he's keeping from her. And I thought that the first book was going to end with us finding it out and her finding it out, but it doesn't. It's not until like 75% of the way through Truth Game that we find out what happened. But this book is about Daryl and Molly, and they have been like childhood best friends forever. But something happened when they were like 10 years old where she left their town and returned like 6 years later. Only he doesn't remember who she is when she comes back 6 years later. And it's like a whole thing. But childhood friends to lovers, all that stuff. It was good, but again, you didn't need to split these 2 books up. It could have been put in one. And then there were like a lot of grammatical errors in the books that I noticed, at least. There was one time where he was like speaking dialogue and he said, "I don't even," and that was it. And I was like, it was very clearly supposed to say, "I don't even care" anymore, but it didn't. And it was not my favorite series by Chloe Walsh. Obviously, the Boys of Tommen series put incredibly high expectations for any of Chloe Walsh's books, and for me, these books just didn't live up to it. So overall, the series is like a 3-star series for me. Like, I enjoyed it, but that's about as far as it goes. Anywho, the last couple books I read, I both listened and read these books. Like, not listening while reading, but like I would switch between listening and reading to these. The first one is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. I watched this TV show when it came out because I was like peak book slump at this period in time, and so I didn't really care to read the book before I watched the show. I greatly enjoyed this. I also really enjoy when the audiobook has a large array of voice actors to read like each character and stuff. So that was really good. I was shocked at the amount of changes the TV show made to the book. Like, this book, and I believe the entire series, is based out of Connecticut, United States. If you watched the TV show, you would know it takes place in the UK. And there were just a lot of like little intricacies that I wasn't expecting, because I don't know, I get that it's a TV show and they need to make things like more dramatic or whatever, but the person who did the crimes, because obviously I'm not going to spoil it, but the person that did the crimes in this book, they made him a lot more villainous in the show. And I just wasn't expecting him to be like very oddly understanding about everything that Pippa was doing. And like once he was finally caught out, he was like, ugh, I've been caught. He didn't try to justify his way out of it. He didn't try to gaslight her or anything. And he absolutely did that in the show. But I did really enjoy it. I thought it was a very good YA mystery. I think I would rate it like a 3-5. And I am looking forward to continuing the series in this upcoming month. The last two books I read / listened to are part of the same series. It is the Love Light Farms series by B.K. Borison. I did not read Love Light Farms, which is the first book in the series, obviously, because it's like kind of a Christmas-based romance. At least that is what I was told. I don't really like Christmas romances. They remind me too much of Hallmark movies, and to me those are like sickeningly sweet and predictable, and so I just tend to stay away from them. But that book is about Stella and Luca, and they have been best friends for like 10 years, and they've basically always been in love with each other, but she is just starting up this Christmas tree farm, and she's entering it into a contest for an influencer to judge. And she told the contest people, I guess, that she runs the farm with her boyfriend. Only thing, she doesn't have a boyfriend. Enter Luca, who she asks to pretend to be her boyfriend, and things just kind of go on from there. However, the aforementioned influencer that is judging this contest is the FMC in the Weeds, which is the second book in the series. And this book is about Evelyn and Beckett, and a while ago they had a one-night stand in, I think, Maine, and then suddenly she shows up on this farm to judge the contest, and he's like, what are you doing back here? Then she leaves again, and he has gotten kind of used to her leaving, but she ends up kind of being really burnt out from her influencer job, and so she decides to go back to the last place she felt happy, which was Love Light Farms. So she shows up at this B&B that she previously stayed at. Only thing is, there are no available rooms. On the way out, she runs into Beckett, and he's like, you can stay with me if you want. And things just kind of go on from there. I loved this book so much. I think it was such a good time. I really, really enjoyed it. Beckett is also a grumpy kind of farmer with a soft spot for animals, because he is kind of known around town for adopting animals that need a home. He adopted 4 kittens, he adopts a duck, he later adopts a couple more animals at the end of this book and in the beginning of the next one. But it was very good. I do not like the miscommunication trope. I think it's so stupid. Just talk about your issues. But I did still really enjoy it, and I would rate it like 3.5 stars. The next book in that series is Mixed Signals by B.K. Borison, obviously. This book is hinted at a little bit in the last one, where it's Layla and Caleb, and Layla, she owns the bakery on Love Light Farms, and Caleb has very clearly had a crush on her for a while, and they end up running into each other at a restaurant while she is having essentially the worst date ever, and her date ends up literally leaving while she's trying to get the bill, and he's like, oh my god, can I drive you home, because her date was the one that picked her up to drive her here. And so she's like, yes please, I literally won't have a way to get home if you don't take me home. So he does, and on the way that he is driving her home, he mentions that he typically has a pretty bad dating track as well, where he'll go out on like 3 to 5 dates with a woman and then things just kind of fizzle out and he thinks he's too much for them, which honestly just breaks my heart. But he proposes that they, like, I wouldn't say fake date because they're not, well, they are pretending, but like where they have an arrangement where for a month he will treat her the way she is supposed to be treated, so she later knows how she should be treated by these guys she's going out with and like know her standards kind of, and she is supposed to be telling him what he should be doing better, how he can be better at dating and all that kind of stuff. And obviously things get so complicated, but it was very sweet the way he just kept loving her and kept showing up for her, which I loved so much. And yeah, those are all the books I read this month. I realize it's not a lot, maybe not even enough to warrant a wrap-up video, but I still wanted to talk to you guys about the books I read this month because I did really enjoy them all. Nothing earth-shattering, obviously, because I already read A Court of Mist and Fury before. Did start Powerless. I'm like halfway through it. I don't know if I'm going to finish it just yet because I don't know. I'm just very hesitant because I know I'm gonna get obsessed, and I tend to avoid reading books if I'm intimidated kind of by what they're gonna do to me. That's the exact same reason why I haven't read the new Magnolia Parks book yet. I have a very good lineup of books for this upcoming month. If you want to see what it is, please check out my TBR video that I recently posted. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. All of my social media is linked down below for you guys. I hope you all are having an absolutely wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening wherever you are in the world, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.